Hello scholars. Today we are going to discuss about categories of mutual fund. We had discussed classification of mutual funds. If you remember, act of God. A for active versus passive. C for the category of assets based on the category. Third was based on the tax rate, based on the objective, then growth, open-ended, and direct plan. So I'm discussing now based on the categories of asset. So search on the Google SEBI categorization of mutual fund schemes. You will get this website SEBI. This is the regulator of security market. Okay, click over here. That is, you will get the website. So on here you can download it. Okay, as or you can directly read as well. If you are not downloading, I downloaded here so that I can explain. I suggest you read this document. It is hardly 3-4 pages, but it is official document and useful to understand the classification. Before 2017, 17, mutual fund categories was not systematically organized. So they used to call give fancy names and whatever the mutual fund manager wished to do, they used to do. But then comparison was little complicated or not correct way. So SEBI has come with the circular that you should have the some specific category and they give specific guideline. So this is one another practically important that from 2017 onward, the return will be different from the previous. So the previous year comparison is not correct because the category classification is started in 2017-18. So that is the reason we take the 5-year return for the comparison. 10-year, 15-year, that is not correct way to compare, at least for comparison. So what are the categories by the SEBI? Okay, so these are the categories: equity, debt, hybrid. As I mentioned, schemes means mutual fund. Scheme is equal to mutual fund. So these are the three main category. Then there is another subcategory of solution oriented, which is of no use, and remaining are other schemes. Okay, so there are around total 36 categories. We'll discuss one by one. If you go down, there is a definition. Okay, so what is the definition of large cap company, mid cap company, small cap company? So the definition of large cap company is first 100 companies are large cap companies, and large cap mutual fund invest into the large cap company, that is top 500 company. So where do large cap mutual fund invest? They invest in top 500 company. This cap is the short form of capitalization, market capitalization. Market capitalization is the total value of the company. If you want to buy any company, how much money you will have to pay based on that. Then mid cap is the next 150, from 101 to 150. So next 150 are mid cap. So mid cap mutual fund invest into the mid cap companies. That means if you rank all company, rank from 101 to 150 will go to the mid cap. And then remaining 250 onward are small cap company. This is categorization of the companies. Okay, and the mutual fund invest into those company will be automatically categorized as large cap, mid cap, small cap. There is one more category coming with micro cap, but I don't think that is required in this, and we don't have to go into that detail. It will get confused. Okay, let's go down here. Yeah, so equity category. There are three main: EDH. You can remember EDH: equity, debt, hybrid. So under equity, now you see the serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 under the equity. Then under the debt, so this is the B is the debt category. Debt category, you see that 16. So 10 and 16 become 26. Then how many hybrids? Hybrid category funds are 6. Okay, so 26 plus 6 is 32. These are categories, total categories. 32 plus this 2, 34, and this 2, total 36 categories. Clear? So out of which this is useless, so don't waste your time. It is not required. And in this case, then there are index funds, ETF, funds of funds, or some gold funds. Those are coming to residual remaining. So important categories are now three. EDH. Okay. So I'll go into the equity category. Remember category EDH, that is equity, debt, and hybrid. So under equity category, you will see that I'll again classify them into, under equity, there are 10 categories. Okay. And let me resume it. Okay. So these five categories under the equities are based on the size of the company. Okay. You see the cap word. Cap means capital, capitalization. So these five categories are classified based on the size of the company. Okay. And then their characteristics also mentioned, how much they should invest. For example, large cap should invest. If this is the category, okay, then fund manager has to invest at least 80% of the assets in the large cap company. Okay. If fund is falling in this category, then it will invest 35, minimum 35 into large and minimum 35% in the mid cap, because this is a combination of both large and mid. Then if it is categorized as a mid cap fund, then 65, minimum 65% should be invested in mid cap. Rest they can invest into the other assets. Then again, small cap, you see the just numbers this, okay, and read. So this five. So main categories are three: equity, debt, and hybrid. And now these are the subcategories. Under the equity, there are 10. And out of these 10, first five are based on the size of the company. Next, these are based on the different theme or style. As of now, you don't waste your time as of now. And this, because all your investment objective will be achieved by this size-based classification. Okay, we'll have a brief discussion about this, but you don't need that. And ELSS now has gone out of favor because tax benefit is gone. So under the equity, at least for the investment purpose, you will have this. Okay. Now there is one more category which has come, flexi cap. Okay, flexi cap, but it is also capitalist based. So what you learn here in equity category, size based, company size based classification, company size based mutual funds, and then there are strategy, sector, style based. Okay, so this is, let's say, sectoral mutual funds, focus mutual. Who should invest in this thing? The people who have little more knowledge of stock market, they can do investing in style and sector based. Okay, so this is a brief outline I'm giving. We'll discuss equity category as a separate video. I'm just giving a brief outline so that you will understand the classification and where you want to go. Next is debt. Under the debt as well, debt category is classified based on the, now debt category invest into the bonds, company bonds or government security. Okay, and these bonds and government security comes with the different maturity. Okay, like it's like FD. FD has 6-month maturity, 1-year maturity, 5-year maturity. Similarly, bonds have a different maturity. It can be 1 year, 1 day maturity to 30 years as well, even 50 years. Some government bonds have 30 years, 50 years maturity as well. So based on the maturity of bonds or bill or debt instrument, these categories are classified. So see this, 1 day maturity are considered as an overnight fund. 90 days maturity are considered as a liquid fund. Now, this 90 days to 3-6 months are considered under the ultra short. Then low duration, 6 months to 12 months, low duration. And up to 1 year, money market. Okay. So you can see here, this subcategory from here, top 5, invest into the bonds which has less than 1 year maturity. Okay. Up to money market. See, up to 1 year. Thereafter, you go down, you'll see that there is a short duration which invest into the maturity between 1 year to 3 year. Now you may ask, what is the Macaulay's duration? That we'll discuss later on. Okay, Macaulay's duration. But today, what you understand, is the maturity, how many days bond mature, and how these categories are classified. That is the intention of this video. When we discuss the special about each category and risk and return, that time you will also understand that few things more better. So don't get me into impatient that abhi mujhe nahi samajh mein aaya. You'll learn slowly later on. Then medium term, then long term. If any bond mature after 7 years, okay, they are put into long duration fund. Okay, then so based on the duration, there are 9 funds. Okay, so you can say that long, medium, short, and so almost 9 funds are based on the duration. Okay, out of 16, there are 16 fund in the debt category, out of which 9 are based on the duration. Now, although that is Macaulay's duration, but for practical purpose, as of now, you remember bond duration. Okay, the Macaulay's duration is different than the bond duration maturity, but at least for practical purpose, you understand that it has it's a maturity. Okay, how many? I said 9 or 8. 9. Okay, so 9 are based on the maturity. Why it is important? Because duration of maturity is sensitive to the interest rate. If RBI increase its rate, bond prices fall. If RBI reduces the interest rate, bond prices goes up. So that's why this maturity is important. And the longer the duration, higher the sensitivity. That means long duration will fluctuate more with the interest rate change. That's why duration is important here. And that decides your the goal of parking funds and protection from the inflation. Because to park the funds, temporary parking of the funds, you will have to invest into the funds which has very low maturity duration. And the choice is usually liquid funds. Okay. Maximum up to this money market, liquid fund, ultra short. Okay. That's it. So if you want to park the money, you will have to invest into up to this only, so that they will not be sensitive to the change in the interest rate. That is why this classification is important. Because eventually what we want to understand, or what we want to get, is the return, and we also understand the risk as well. Return and risk both are two sides of coin. And to understand the classification, this is the main function. You have to remember that this is related to something related to risk and return. Okay, so in a debt category, based on the duration. Okay, and now if you go again, then there are fancy names. Okay, then dynamic bonds, corporate bond, credit risk, bank, different things. One thing here, we usually don't recommend to invest into these things, because there is a risk of losing the money. Even this is not required. So if someone wants to have the protection from the inflation and get the return around 6 to 7% and no risk of default, then this is the category you can invest. Okay, so this is the classification of the debt fund. Once you read this, you will many things will get clear to you. Then hybrid category. Okay, this is very interesting category. It is a mixture of debt and equity. Okay, so now here, based on the how much component is invested into the equity and debt, based on that, it is considered as a conservative hybrid, balanced hybrid, aggressive hybrid, and so on. Okay, so you write down in front of hybrid category. Okay, so it is based on the how much they are investing into the debt and equity. Okay, aggressive category, write down aggressive hybrid, invest more than 65%. Okay, this is important here, 65 to 80%, but just remember 65%, because this category will be considered as an equity fund for the taxation purpose. This aggressive fund is this one category in the hybrid scheme. It is considered for the special rate tax category. write down this aggressive. There is one more in the hybrid category, which will go arbitrage. This will also go into the special rate. It also invests 65%. Okay. So in the hybrid category, you write down arbitrage and aggressive. Consider as a special rate tax category. Rest are in a different category. Okay. So we are at the discussion of category only. There will be overlap as well as repetition of the some of the things, because everything is interrelated. Okay. So under hybrid schemes, it is a mix of equity and debt. That is full stop. And again, this hybrid category will be have some special rate tax regime and normal slab rate, as well as mix. That we'll discuss in the taxation. Okay. Then next is solution oriented. Don't waste your time here because it has lock-in period and not much popular. Then ETF here, ETF category and index fund. Then there is fund of funds as well. This fund of funds is interesting category. They invest in the other mutual fund and ETF. That is why it is called as fund of fund. Now here you'll see the interesting point, index fund and ETF. Okay. ETF are listed on the stock market. Index funds are not listed, but both are passive. Index fund is a passive. ETF is also passive, but ETF is listed on stock exchange and index fund is not listed. Now don't go into debate which is best. You will invest in both whenever it is possible, because all passive funds may not be listed on the stock exchange. So this category is important because this is a passive category, and all other those were active. Okay, so this equity, EDH, all up to this equity, date, these are all active, and passive comes only here. This is the passive category. Fund of fund, sometime if you want to invest into the international market, you can't go as a retailer easily. So there are certain funds like MON 100 or some funds which invest into the international market. So you can get exposure to international market via these schemes. Okay. So read this brochure carefully because it's practically significant, and write down which are the categories which are relevant to you. Some curious or people who are more expert or intelligent, they have their own studies, they can do own study, but here I am presuming that you are a beginner, so I will give you very relevant points only. Okay, so you will invest in, write down first index funds, ETF, maybe funds of funds, 3, go up, arbitrage fund, 4th, then aggressive hybrid, 5th. Okay, maybe conservative hybrid if you are senior citizen. Next, then gilt fund. Okay, gilt fund, then money market fund, liquid fund, and overnight fund. Okay, then small, mid cap, large, multi cap, flexi cap. Okay, so out of 36, we have shortlisted hardly 15, 16 categories, and that is more than enough for to create portfolio. And your 3 objectives. What are the 3 objectives? I said that PPG, P for parking the fund, P parking some money for short term, protection from the insurance and risk, and G for the growth. For growth, you will have to invest into the equity. For the parking of the funds, you will have to invest into the debt. Okay, and debt that too less than 1 year duration. So there is no confusion between this. And for the protection of the protection from the insurance and risk, you will have to invest into debt and hybrid. Okay, here in a park, when your objective is parking the funds, your objective is not to get more return. Okay, when you are parking the fund, For example, in FD, you are parking funds. You are not bothered about getting too much return. So your return will be usually 4 to 5%. Happy, but you will get money immediately. No, not risk at all. If you want to protect from the inflation and risk as well, risk of losing capital, okay, risk of losing capital, then your expectation are 7 to 8%. Should be happy with that. So you will protect for, you will not create wealth. And third is wealth creation or growth, grow money or wealth creation. And wealth creation is a long term goal, and you need at least 10% return to grow wealth, 10% nominal rate. Okay, so this should be the your target, and accordingly risk profile will be adjusted. So align your objective with the particular specific type of mutual fund. For example, for parking, now you will go to the debt fund which has less duration, less than one duration. Okay, for growing the money, you will have to go for the equity or gold. For here, you will have to go to the hybrid or debt. So this is very simple and easy decision making criteria, and you will be able to do invest yourself based on your objective. Okay, I always say that without considering the objective of investor, prescription or advice of any instrument is incorrect thing, because investor plus instrument is equal to investment. It is A plus B. You cannot suggest or advise any investment without understanding the objective, right? So if you want to go to the Bangalore, I cannot suggest the product to go to the Islamabad or Delhi. You have to decide what is your objective and take the flight of going to there. Okay, so this is the brief about classification. Read this brochure circular of the SEBI. Okay, thank you very much.